I'm a 25-year-old guy just trying to make it on my own. I've spent the last few years working my ass off, juggling jobs, studying, and doing whatever it took to secure my future. It hasn't been easy, but I'm proud to say that I recently bought my first house. It's nothing extravagant, but it's mine. I worked for it. It's been a dream come true after everything I've been through, especially since I lost both my parents when I was a teenager. Growing up was tough. I was just 14 when they died in a car accident. My older sister, Anna, was 19 at the time and had to step up. She became my parent. She was the one who handled everything. She took care of the funeral arrangements, kept things together, and raised me like I was her own kid. Anna wasn't really ready to become a full-time mom and caretaker, but she did it anyway. She put her own life on hold for me. She got married, had kids, and continued to raise me while also building her own family. I'll always be grateful to her for everything she did. But things were never easy for Anna. She married a guy, Jason, who was always good to her and the kids, but he was never the best at keeping a steady job. Over the years, Anna became a stay-at-home mom. She stayed home to care for their two young kids, which I get, but it didn't exactly bring in money. Jason's job, while it helped, never really covered all their needs, and Anna struggled constantly to make ends meet. Even when they needed basics like groceries, school supplies, or help with their utility bills, she never hesitated to ask me for help. And I always did my best to help her, just like she helped me when I was younger. So when I bought my house, it was a huge milestone for me. I'd been saving up for years, working 3 jobs, cutting costs, and putting in long hours. After my parents passed, I swore I would never depend on anyone else. I didn't want to live hand to mouth, so I did everything I could to make sure I had a stable future. The house was a reflection of all the sacrifices I made to get to this point. It's a modest place, not too far from Anna's house, but far enough to be affordable. It's in a quieter neighborhood, and honestly, I love it. It's mine, and I can't describe the feeling of finally having a place to call my own after everything. For the first time in years, I felt like I had a little peace and stability. But things started to change not long after I moved in. Anna, who I'd been helping with money for so long, came over one afternoon. She was clearly stressed. She started talking about how hard things had been for her, how tight their finances were, how she was struggling to keep everything together. I could see she was exhausted, physically and emotionally. She started hinting that things would be easier for her if they didn't have to pay rent or deal with the constant stress of financial insecurity. Then, she said something that completely threw me off guard. Anna straight up told me that she thought it would be easier if she and her kids moved into my house. She didn't even ask directly at first, but it was obvious what she was hinting at. At first, I just sat there stunned. I had worked so hard for this house. I was proud of it. I never imagined that anyone, especially Anna, would think it was up for grabs. Eventually, she came out and asked me flat out, could I just give her the house? She said she and the kids could live there, and it would be easier for everyone. I was shocked, like completely caught off guard. It felt absurd to me. This house wasn't just a roof over my head, it was a symbol of everything I'd worked for. My blood, sweat, and tears had gone into buying it. How could I just hand it over? But Anna didn't see it that way. She told me that she raised me after our parents died, that she sacrificed everything for me, and now it was my turn to return the favor. She said that I didn't need such a big house anyway, that I could rent somewhere cheaper or just live with my partner. She said the kids were growing up fast, and the situation was becoming too much to handle. She kept reminding me of everything she did for me and how she never asked for anything in return. It hit me hard, and I'll admit, I started feeling guilty. Still, there was no way I could give up my house. I'd worked too hard for it. I wasn't ready to lose that part of my independence. I didn't want to feel selfish, but the idea of giving up everything I'd worked for felt wrong. I told Anna I wasn't comfortable with her moving in, but I'd keep helping her out with smaller things, like paying for some bills or groceries. She didn't take it well. Anna was hurt, and I could tell she was disappointed. She accused me of being ungrateful, of forgetting everything she'd done for me. I tried to explain that I wasn't rejecting her, but I couldn't give her the house. That's when the guilt started eating at me. Maybe I was being selfish. Maybe I was wrong for not just giving in. It felt like a lose-lose situation, and I didn't know what to do. That night, I talked to my partner. They were supportive, but they told me to stick to my guns. They said I'd worked too hard for the house to just hand it over. But still, I couldn't shake the guilt. The whole thing was tearing me up inside. Update 1. So things really took a turn after Anna came over that one afternoon. It was like something just clicked for her. She showed up at my house a week later, acting all tense and distant. She was quieter than usual, and I could tell something was bothering her. I asked her if everything was okay, and she just sighed, looking at the floor. She started talking about how hard things had become for her. She told me that Jason, her husband, wasn't bringing in enough money to cover everything, and she was having trouble making ends meet. The kids were getting older and needed more, and she couldn't keep up. Her voice was shaky, like she was on the edge of tears, but she was trying to stay composed. She went on about how it'd be so much easier if we could all just live together. I was a little confused at first, but I didn't say anything. She kept hinting at it, almost like she was testing the waters. She talked about how my house was so much bigger than mine, and how it would be perfect for her and the kids. She mentioned that if she didn't have to worry about paying rent or bills, things would be so much easier for her and Jason. I thought maybe she was just venting, but then she straight up asked me if I could just give her the house. I was shocked. It didn't even feel real. My house, the one I worked so hard for, the one I saved up for through years of grinding, was being asked for like it was no big deal. It felt absurd. I just stared at her, not even knowing how to respond. Anna didn't stop there. She kept going, saying that I didn't need a big house like this. I could rent a cheaper place, or even live with my partner if things were tight. She kept going on and on, telling me how she raised me after our parents died, how she sacrificed so much for me, and how it would be fair if I helped her now. She wasn't directly demanding the house, but it was clear that's what she was hoping for. She kept saying that I was lucky to have this place, and that if I really cared about her, I'd help out. I couldn't wrap my head around it. My house? The house I'd sacrificed so much for? It wasn't just a place to live. It was the symbol of everything I'd built for myself after our parents passed. I just couldn't see how I could give it up. But the guilt started creeping in. Anna didn't say it, but I could see in her eyes how desperate she was. She had 2 kids, and Jason was barely scraping by. I understood why she felt the way she did. I had the house. I had the stability. And she had nothing but stress and overwhelming responsibilities. She got emotional, then, and started talking about how she'd never asked for anything in return for raising me. She reminded me of all the late-night talks we had when I was struggling, how she helped me through my hardest moments. She kept saying she wasn't asking for much, just that I give her the house. It's like she didn't even see it as a big deal. I felt horrible hearing her talk like that. I wanted to help her, but I couldn't just hand over my life's work. I couldn't make sense of it. Was I being selfish? She'd given so much for me, and I'd always tried to help her out, but this felt different. This wasn't a grocery run or helping with the kids' school stuff. This was my house. I had worked so damn hard for it. That night, I sat down with my partner and talked it through. I laid everything out, what Anna said, how I felt, how hard it was to make the decision. My partner listened, and then they gave me their thoughts. They told me they understood why I felt torn, but that I had worked too hard for the house to just give it up. They reminded me that I had made it through everything on my own, and that it was okay to set boundaries even with family. I didn't want to hurt Anna. I didn't want to seem ungrateful, but giving up the house felt like a line I couldn't cross. I had to set a boundary, but I wasn't ready to tell her no just yet. I decided I would keep helping her financially, like I had been doing, but the house wasn't an option. The next day, I called Anna. I told her that while I couldn't give her the house, I was still here for her. I could help with bills, groceries, rent, whatever she needed for a little while, but I wasn't ready to give up my home. She didn't take it well. The conversation was awkward, and Anna's voice cracked when she said, "I guess I expected more from you." She said I was forgetting where I came from, forgetting everything she did for me. She was hurt, and it was obvious. I tried to explain, but she wasn't listening. After we hung up, I couldn't shake the feeling that maybe I was being unreasonable. Was I being selfish? Maybe I should have helped more. Maybe I should have just given her the house. I felt like I was being torn between family loyalty and my own need for independence. I didn't know what to do, so I posted on Reddit. I needed advice, needed to see if I was in the wrong for not giving her the house. The feedback was mixed. Some people said I was right to set boundaries, that I worked hard for that house, and I deserved it. Others said I should help my sister, that she had given so much for me, and now it was my turn. I spent the next few nights wrestling with guilt and confusion. But by the end of it, I knew I couldn't give up my house. I was ready to offer Anna financial help, but only for the short term. I couldn't sacrifice my future for the sake of guilt. This wasn't over, though. I could feel the tension already building, and I knew things were about to get more complicated. Update 2. The fallout from my refusal to give Anna the house didn't take long to escalate. It was only a few days after our conversation when I got the first call from my aunt. She didn't even try to ease into the conversation. It was clear from the start that she was upset with me. She told me I needed to rethink my decision, that family always comes first, and that I owed Anna more than what I was offering. I told her I wasn't giving up the house, but I'd still help Anna in other ways. That didn't sit well with her, or anyone else in the family. Over the next few days, I started getting more calls. My uncles, cousins, even family friends, all of them were suddenly calling, all saying the same thing. "You have to help your sister, she's been there for you. You can't just leave her in this situation." It felt like the weight of everyone's expectations was pressing down on me. It was like they didn't care that I had worked for everything I had. They just saw Anna struggling, and they couldn't understand why I wasn't helping more. At first, I tried to explain my side. I wasn't rejecting Anna, I just couldn't give up my house. But no one seemed to listen. My aunt kept calling me selfish, accusing me of forgetting where I came from. It was like they all just assumed that, because Anna had raised me after our parents died, I owed her everything, including my home. It didn't help that Anna was playing the guilt card. Every time we talked, she reminded me of the things she'd done for me. Every little sacrifice she made, every time she put her life on hold to take care of me, was brought up in every conversation. "You don't remember how hard it was when Mom and Dad died, do you?" she said in one of our more heated discussions. "You don't remember how I held it all together for you, and now you can't even give me your house?" Her words stung. The pressure from the family kept building. I started feeling isolated. Every family gathering I was invited to, Anna was there talking to everyone about how I was abandoning her. It felt like no one was on my side. Everyone kept calling me ungrateful, selfish, and heartless. It was as if they couldn't see my point of view at all. I started questioning myself. Maybe I was being unreasonable. Maybe I really was just acting out of some misplaced sense of independence. The guilt kept piling on, and I didn't know how much more I could take. I posted an update on Reddit, hoping to get some perspective. The responses were mixed, but one comment really stood out. It was a user who told me I needed to set firm boundaries and stop feeling guilty for standing up for myself. They said that family can be manipulative, and just because someone has been there for you in the past doesn't mean you owe them everything. That comment gave me a moment of clarity. I wasn't being selfish, I was protecting myself. But just as I started to feel more empowered, the pressure only grew. My partner, who had been supportive all along, started getting frustrated with me. They didn't like seeing me so torn up over family drama. They told me straight up, "You've worked hard for that house. Don't let them push you into giving it up. If you keep listening to them, they'll just keep taking and taking." I knew they were right, but the weight of the family's disappointment was getting to me. Then came the confrontation with Anna. It was inevitable. She came over to my house one evening, and I could tell by the way she was acting that she was furious. She started accusing me of being cold-hearted, of forgetting all the sacrifices she made for me. I tried to explain, again, that I couldn't give up my house, but she wasn't having it. She kept raising her voice, telling me I was no better than anyone else in the family who hadn't helped her. The more I tried to explain myself, the angrier she got. In the heat of the moment, she suggested something I hadn't even considered before. "Why don't we just live together?" she asked, desperation in her voice. "We can both stay in the house, split the space. You can still have your place, and I'll be able to stay with the kids. It'll work, I swear." I had to tell her no again. My house wasn't just a place. It was my sanctuary, my independence. I couldn't just give up that space, even if it meant helping her in some way. But Anna wasn't listening. She kept pushing, saying I was being unreasonable, and that I'd never understand what it was like to struggle. It hit me hard when she said that. She was right in one sense. I didn't know what it was like to have my entire life weighed down by financial stress, by 2 kids to care for, a husband who wasn't pulling his weight. I could see how much she was hurting, but I still couldn't give up my home. By this point, things had started to fall apart with the rest of the family. I stopped getting invited to family gatherings, and the calls kept coming. The more I stood my ground, the more isolated I felt. The family sided with Anna, and it made everything feel worse. The emotional strain was getting to me. I started having trouble sleeping, couldn't focus at work, and felt constantly anxious. I knew I had to do something, so I started seeing a therapist. I needed to understand why this situation was affecting me so much, why I was willing to sacrifice my peace for family expectations. I tried to offer Anna more financial help. I sent her gift cards, helped cover some smaller bills, things I could manage without feeling like I was giving up everything. But even that wasn't enough. Anna refused the help. She called it pathetic, saying it wasn't what she needed. That hurt. The breaking point came when Anna told me, flat out, that I'd never understand what it was like to struggle. That's when I realized, no matter how much I tried to help, it would never be enough for her. I had to make my decision final. I couldn't keep living in this emotional tug of war. I told Anna I was still here for her, but I wasn't going to give up my house. It wasn't just about the house, it was about my own mental health, my happiness. This was the line I had to draw. Update 3. Things didn't get better after I made it clear that I wasn't going to give up my house. In fact, they got a whole lot worse. It wasn't just Anna who was upset anymore. It was the whole family. I started hearing rumors from relatives that I was being selfish and greedy. Anna had gone to the family, telling them that I was refusing to help her, that I was abandoning her when she needed me the most. She painted me as the bad guy, saying that after everything she did for me, I was turning my back on her. The more I heard from relatives, the more I realized I wasn't just being criticized by a few people, I was being completely isolated. I wasn't invited to family gatherings anymore. Every time a family event came up, I was either excluded or given some excuse about how it wasn't the right time. I didn't get any calls on my birthday, and the texts I received were all from distant relatives. The family, the ones I thought I could count on, were now siding with Anna. It felt like I had been erased from their lives. I tried offering financial help again, but this time, Anna outright refused. She told me my help was pathetic, and that it wasn't what she needed. She didn't want money to pay bills or help with groceries. She wanted the house. She made it clear that nothing less would suffice. I was shocked. It was like everything I did to try to meet her halfway wasn't enough. She wasn't interested in compromise. She was focused on one thing, getting my house. Some of my friends tried to step in and offer their opinions. Those who knew Anna and I from the past said I was wrong for not helping her more. They told me I should have just given her the house already, that she deserved it after everything she'd done for me. Others were on my side, though, telling me I had every right to stand my ground, that my home was a product of years of hard work and sacrifice. The problem was that I couldn't stop thinking about the people who were criticizing me. The guilt still hung over me. I started feeling really isolated. It wasn't just the family cutting ties. A lot of my friends didn't know where to stand. Some avoided me, not wanting to get involved, while others directly told me I was being heartless. I found myself alone more and more. Even at work, I was distracted, barely able to focus on the things that used to make me happy. Then, one day, I received an unexpected message. It was from a couple of my parents' old friends. These were people I hadn't heard from in years, but they reached out to tell me how proud they were of me. They said they'd been following my journey from afar, and they could see how hard I'd worked to get where I was. They told me they respected my independence and my ability to stand firm, and that I'd earned everything I had. That message hit me harder than I thought it would. It was a reminder of who I was before all this drama, a reminder that I had worked so hard to build my life. But despite that encouragement, doubt started creeping in. The guilt didn't stop. I questioned if I had made the right decision. Could I have done more for Anna? Was I really just being selfish? I had so many conversations with myself, wondering if I should have tried harder to help her. But every time I thought about giving up my house, the more I realized it wasn't just about the house, it was about my future, my independence, and my happiness. Then Anna gave me an ultimatum. She told me, flat out, that if I didn't give her the house, she would cut me off for good. She said she couldn't be around someone who didn't care about family. At that point, I knew it was a final straw. I wasn't going to be manipulated into doing something I didn't want to do. But hearing those words still hurt. The idea of losing my sister over a house, seemed impossible. But I had to stand firm. I talked to my partner about it, and the conversation was tougher than I expected. My partner supported me through all of this, but they knew how much it weighed on me. We talked about what the fallout might mean for the future. Would I lose everyone? Was it worth it to hold my ground if it meant cutting ties with family? But my partner reminded me that this wasn't just about family, it was about me protecting my own well-being. We couldn't just live in a world where I kept sacrificing myself for others. I started seeing my therapist more often. The pressure was getting to be too much. I needed to work through this emotional roller coaster. Through therapy, I realized that standing firm was the healthier choice. I didn't have to give up everything to appease everyone. I couldn't keep carrying everyone's burdens while ignoring my own. I posted another update on Reddit, trying to explain how conflicted I still felt. I said that I knew I needed to prioritize my own mental health, but it was hard. It was hard to stop feeling guilty, to stop wondering if I was in the wrong. But the feedback I got this time was overwhelmingly supportive. People told me that I was doing the right thing, that I couldn't let my family's expectations define me. They told me to keep standing strong, and that it was okay to say no when it was for my own good. A few days after that, Anna called again. This time, the conversation was different. She demanded, once more, that I give up the house. She said I was throwing away my family over something as trivial as a house. I didn't answer right away. I let it go to voicemail, and for the first time in a long while, I didn't feel the immediate pull to give in. I decided to stop answering her calls for a while. I needed space. I needed time to breathe. The silence was strange at first, but it became peaceful. Slowly, I started to feel a sense of emotional freedom that I hadn't felt in months. Over the next few weeks, I reflected on everything. I thought about how much I had sacrificed and how much I had gained by standing firm. I would always love Anna, but I had to live my life on my own terms. And for the first time, I wasn't going to apologize for it. Update 4. It's been a few months since I decided to stop answering Anna's calls and start focusing on my own life. Things have definitely changed since that last confrontation, and I want to share where things stand now. Anna exchanged a few brief texts after I stopped answering her calls. I wasn't sure if she expected me to reach out, but I decided I needed to keep my distance. The first message she sent was full of hurt and anger, accusing me of abandoning her. She said I'd turned my back on family, and that she'd never forgive me for not helping her when I had the chance. I knew that's how she felt, but I also knew that I couldn't keep going down this path of constant guilt. I responded, telling her that I was sorry she felt that way, but I needed space. I explained that I wasn't rejecting her. I just couldn't continue sacrificing my own well-being for the sake of others. The conversation didn't go anywhere, and we both ended up saying very little after that. It was clear we needed a break from each other. At first, it felt strange to have that distance. It was like I had this nagging feeling in the back of my mind, wondering if I was making a mistake. But as the days went by, I started to feel more at peace. I was finally able to focus on my life without the constant pressure from family. I had spent so much time worrying about everyone else that I forgot to take care of myself. Once I put the focus back on me, I started to feel more confident. I've been putting more energy into my career. I've always worked hard, but for the first time, I felt like I was doing it for me, not out of obligation. I started taking on new projects and even began to consider applying for a promotion that I had put off for months. My home became my sanctuary again. I started enjoying the little things, sitting on the porch with a cup of coffee, organizing the house the way I wanted, just doing things that made me happy. It felt good to have control over my own life again. Then, out of the blue, a few family members reached out to me. It wasn't Anna, but it was a start. My aunt, who had been one of the biggest critics, sent me a long message apologizing for the way things had gone down. She told me that she had been too quick to take Anna's side and that she regretted pressuring me so much. She said she understood now that I had my own life and couldn't keep giving everything to everyone else. It felt like a small victory, and honestly, it was a relief to know that at least some of the family could see things from my perspective. Other relatives also began to reach out with similar apologies. They told me they were sorry for not supporting me, for not realizing how hard I had worked to get where I was. I was grateful for the apologies, but I didn't know how to feel about them. It was nice to hear, but it also made me realize how quickly people can turn on you when they don't fully understand the situation. Still, it was progress. I wasn't being painted as the bad guy anymore. With that newfound sense of peace, I decided it was time to establish some solid boundaries. I told my family that I loved them and wanted to maintain a relationship, but I wasn't going to keep letting anyone walk over me. I needed to take care of myself first. This wasn't just about Anna, it was about everyone. I was tired of feeling like I had to give up my happiness for the sake of other people's comfort, so I set those boundaries. I wasn't going to answer every call or drop everything just because someone needed me. If someone wanted to talk, they had to respect my time and my life. As for Anna, I've decided that I need to keep my distance from her for a while. I don't know what the future holds, but I can't keep going back and forth. I can't keep letting her guilt me into doing things I'm not comfortable with. I've realized that my relationship with her can't continue in the same way it has been. I need to protect my peace. I've also started to feel like I can breathe again. I'm no longer consumed by guilt or the pressure to be the perfect family member. I still love Anna, and I always will, but I can't keep sacrificing my happiness to make everyone else happy. I've learned that it's okay to put myself first. It's been a long journey, but I'm finally at peace with my decision. I'm no longer afraid to stand up for myself, to protect my boundaries, and to make choices that are best for me. The emotional toll this situation took on me has faded, and I've come out of it stronger. Looking back, I can honestly say that what I've learned from all of this is invaluable. I've learned that family doesn't always know best. that you have to be your own advocate, and that you don't have to sacrifice your happiness for the sake of others. I've learned to live for myself, and that has been the greatest gift. I know the road ahead won't always be easy, but I'm no longer afraid to walk it on my own terms. And for now, that's enough. Update 5. It's been months since I made the decision to put my foot down with Anna and the rest of the family. And to be honest, it's been a journey I never expected. I've come a long way since that first confrontation, and I'm finally starting to feel like I'm truly moving on with my life. The guilt that once consumed me slowly faded as I started focusing more on my own growth. I spent more time doing the things I loved, reconnecting with hobbies I'd long neglected, and even joining a few local groups outside of family and work. I joined a hiking club, something I'd always wanted to do but never had the time for. It was a refreshing change. I found myself making new friends, people who didn't have any expectations of me other than just being me. It felt good to be around people who didn't see me as just the guy who could fix everyone else's problems. I started focusing on my career too, pushing for new projects and even considering applying for a higher position at work. It was like I was finally starting to live life on my terms, without the constant pressure from others. Meanwhile, Anna seemed to be adjusting to her new reality. After some time, she found a more affordable place to live. I didn't get all the details, but I knew it was a step in the right direction for her. It didn't completely solve everything for her, but it took some of the financial strain off. I heard from a few family members that things were improving for her in that sense, but she remained upset about the whole situation. I understood that. Things between us were still strained, and I wasn't expecting things to change overnight. Then, one day, I got an unexpected message from Anna. It was brief, just a simple text saying she was sorry for how things turned out and that she hoped I could forgive her. I wasn't sure what to do at first. The way things had ended, with her demanding my house and accusing me of abandoning her, made it hard to just forgive and forget. But I realized that I didn't want to hold on to the resentment anymore. It wasn't healthy for either of us. I decided to respond. I told her I appreciated the apology, but that the situation had caused a lot of pain for both of us. I explained that while I wasn't ready to forget everything, I wanted to move forward without holding on to anger. I wasn't sure what the future held for us, but I was open to slowly rebuilding our relationship, on my terms. The next few months were a little awkward at first. There was still tension between us, and it was clear we both needed time to heal. But over time, we started to reconnect in small ways. We'd meet up for coffee now and then, and the conversations, while still delicate, started to feel more natural. Anna began to show signs that she understood my perspective. She acknowledged that she had pushed too hard, that she had expected too much from me. It wasn't an apology in the traditional sense, but it was progress. And I could tell that, despite the lingering resentment, she was proud of how I'd handled everything. It wasn't easy for either of us, but we both learned a lot. For me, this experience has been a huge lesson in personal growth. I've learned the importance of standing up for myself and my needs, even when it means disappointing those I love. It's been difficult, but it's also been empowering. I've learned that setting boundaries doesn't make me a bad person. It's something I should have done years ago, but it took this situation for me to fully understand it. One of the biggest changes in my life has been the support I've gotten from friends. I've been surrounded by people who respect my boundaries and who are proud of me for sticking to my guns. It's been a relief to have a support system that doesn't try to guilt trip me into doing things I don't want to do. I've also made new friends through the groups I've joined. It feels like I'm building a life outside of my family, one where I'm not constantly walking on eggshells or feeling like I owe anyone anything. My relationship with the extended family has also started to thaw. Some of them reached out to apologize like my aunt did before. They expressed regret over the way things went down, and I could tell they were genuinely trying to make amends. I didn't expect things to go back to normal, but I appreciated the effort. I've started attending family gatherings again, but I keep my distance from the deeper conflicts. I'm no longer the person who gets dragged into every family drama. I've learned to say no when I need to, and it feels like a weight has been lifted. I've also started mentoring a few people at work, and I've realized how much my experience has given me to offer others. It's been rewarding to help others who are going through their own family struggles, offering advice from a place of experience. I use what I've learned about self-care and standing firm in my own boundaries to help others navigate their challenges. Career-wise, I've started pushing for new opportunities. With less emotional baggage weighing me down, I feel like I have more energy to focus on my goals. I've been applying for new roles and considering the possibility of a future that doesn't involve the constant tension with my family. I'm no longer afraid to think about my career and future in ways I hadn't before. As for Anna, she's still struggling, but I can see signs that she's maturing. She's making better financial decisions and starting to take responsibility for her own choices. The resentment is still there, but it feels less heavy now. I'm not sure if we'll ever be as close as we once were, but I'm no longer living in the shadow of guilt and expectation. Looking back, I see now that my decision to not give up the house was about more than just a place to live. It was about my independence, my mental health, and my future. I've gained so much more than I ever expected from standing firm. The house, once a symbol of guilt, is now a symbol of my freedom. I'm finally at peace with my decision. I've learned that it's okay to put myself first, that self-care isn't selfish, and that I don't have to sacrifice my happiness for anyone. If you're going through something similar, I want to remind you that setting boundaries is okay. You don't have to carry everyone's burdens. Taking care of yourself is the most important thing you can do. I'm moving forward in life with confidence, no longer burdened by family expectations or guilt. It feels good to finally be living for myself.